ladies and gentlemen. This is Amit Watts, and welcome to RE Talks, a series of candid interviews. Today, we have with us Ms. Modini Yantrapati, Senior Energy Storage Consultant, APAC at DNV. A warm welcome, Ms. Modini. Welcome to RE Talks.
Thank you, Amit.
Modini, you've been part of RenewX, and now you'll be part of REI with DNV. So I would want to start with the first question. If you'd give me a small introduction of yourself and your role at DNV.
Sure. Thank you, Amit, for that. And yeah, so I'm Modini, and I'm currently based out of Bangalore in India, and I'm working as a senior consultant in the energy storage services within APAC region. And I'm also currently leading the energy storage services for India for DNV. And so that's and our team is spread across different geographies like Korea, Australia, Singapore, Japan, etc. So, that's the exposure that I have with respect to the energy storage within the region as well, where there is a lot of learning that I have been doing within the team from different geographies and how we can actually have these solutions, being discussed with our customers like investors and developers who are actually looking for a good direction in this, energy storage business in India.
Right, perfect, perfect. So you have been meeting people from different geographies, as you're stating. So you get a culminated effect that, what happened in Japan, what's happening in Korea, energy storage, and obviously what's happening in India. So mixture of all those gets catapulted and is invested into India as of now, is it? Good, good.
That's perfect. Yeah.
So what are the challenges faced with storage deployment in India?
Okay, so let me start with the raw materials itself. That's the start of the supply chain. So currently, we have a global crunch that's going on with the lithium-ion batteries because that's the basic chemistry that everyone is looking for these deployments. And then so India also has some sourcing strategies that are coupled with Australia and other geographies in order to make sure that there is enough of raw material for the local manufacturing in India. So that's one thing. Secondly, if we have to talk at the policy and the regulatory support right now, we all know that the government is working towards energy storage policy as a framework, and then which would probably entail the target that is needed for battery energy storage system along with renewables, because as for renewables, we also have a target. The major challenges right now is with respect to the standards that are needed for having this ecosystem built in India. So, we are relying on the standards like IEC or different standards that are well proven. But for India, it is much more focus needed to have these standard and best practices from the safety perspective. So that's one of the challenges that we are facing. Secondly, as I was touching upon the raw material imports, exemptions on the import duties and GSTs. Currently, batteries are sitting at a GST of 18%, while the coal we have at only 5% and modules maybe at 12%. So that an exemption in this would also enable the deployment, of the storage system. So these are the major challenges as I keep hearing from the customers and different, discussions that I have with them. And the third major challenge is about the revenue mechanism for the developers, because energy storage, it has various applications. You can use it for the peak shaving, for frequency regulation, etc. So unless we have a very defined revenue mechanism for these applications for the ones who are developing or maybe off taking, because that's a comfort that we are actually giving as an economic benefit to them. So these are the major challenges that I keep hearing from the customers I have been discussing for India's deployment.
All right, I understand. I totally understand on that. So, I would also like to know what are the various technologies in energy storage that are being used in India as of now?
Okay, so I mean, in India, we did start with the lead acid battery
Mm.
technology, and then that's at a very, a very small scale. After that, we had, because of the geographical enabling that we have seen in some parts of India, there has been, venturing into the pumped hydro storage. Right now, we are sitting. I mean, if we look at the pipeline of tenders that are coming up in India, we have around 5.5 gigawatt hours, and lithium ion batteries basically for the LFP technology is what are being looked at. There is also an increased interest to look at various chemistries that can beat the lithium ion battery costs at this moment. Like people are looking at, I mean, at least there is a discussion that is going at boardrooms of different companies in India about if we could look for any other alternative chemistries like sodium ion, etc. But then
Mm.
right now we do not have that domestic manufacturing that can actually enable the scale up of this technology. But yeah, there has been a lot of discussion around these technologies at this moment.
How safe are these technologies, if I may just vary a little? How safe are all these technologies? We've recently heard instances whereby there've been fires and there've been since there's a lot of EV push going on, and I'm very positive towards the EV push as such. I just want to know how safe. I understand when every time a new technology comes up, there's always something the other. There's a lot of research and development which goes into it. But what do you say that in the future, is it safe to have EVs and battery storage and batteries for that matters?
It is definitely safe. They are safe, and that's why there is an increased emphasis on having this compliance testings and standards that are needed to give them a much more push that is needed, and that is actually required in Indian ecosystem.
True,
So,
true, that's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
So Modini, can you share how proven technology can help mitigate the risk for investors and developers?
Absolutely, because I mean, right now I can we DNV in fact publishes an yearly battery performance scorecard, and this year we have seen couple of named manufacturers like CATL and Narada. They got their batteries tested, and we have looked how the cycle lives would be, how the degradations would be, and how the warranties would roll out. So I mean, these proven technologies, like I mentioned, and these are very established name in this business of the utility scale grid storage, and then they are the basic components that are needed for these battery containers as well. So I mean, we do a lot of testing and we sit on these data, in fact, when we are actually giving the consultancy opinions to the off takers as well. So I mean, that's how the proven technologies and our internal database we are able to help. And I think these are something that we are also seeing where the investors are looking for this kind of data, that's something they can bank on, and something that is being tested and then proven, and then
Mm.
help at least de-risk some of their investments that they are seeing. There are some risks that are seen at least at the O&M stage with respect to the manpower or anything else, but then at least at the investment decision, these are the ones that can actually enable and reduce their risk if they are going for these deployments.
Perfect, perfect. So, no, how can DNV help with energy storage deployments in India? And what are the examples from other countries, if you could share some?
Absolutely. In fact, we have been a consultant for one of the developer in India where we provided the pre-bid advisory, a consultant services. So, I mean, one of our customers, they wanted to understand, especially for this SECI, 1 gigawatt hour
Mm.
BESS that has recently been won. So we have provided our opinion in understanding, what are actually the bid specifications and how are the manufacturers are meeting these specifications or not, and what kind of risk that they should be aware of, and what I mean, this is one part of how we actually support our customers. Secondly, we also do a lot of technology bankability reviews which are independent, so we understand what kind of documentation these people have, and we do have a framework where we look from the company's sales history to their O&M, and then how actually the support that they are giving at after sales, because that's also important.
Mm.
I mean, you cannot just brush off by pushing your product out into the market. You also need to make sure that you have a recourse, you have a availability, you have warranties that are required. So this is how we do the technology reviews. We do a lot of due diligence. In fact, we have been doing a lot of due diligence on the technology readiness and on the commercial readiness of different alternative battery chemistries that we are actually seeing in the market. So this is where we actually can help, people like investors, developers, even manufacturers. If let's say if they want to really get into one of the markets and they do not understand, what kind of standards they need to comply. So we actually give an understanding about, from the policy and the regulatory, that gap assessment of how they actually have to comply it, so that they can have this product safely, being entered into such markets. And yeah, examples, if you mention, we have been doing also owners engineering, where, once a bid by a government or anyone else is won by a developer, we are appointed as owners engineering, where we actually give them the employer requirement documents, and then we also do an assessment of these manufacturers, etc. And then we actually handhold them till the commissioning stage. So we do
Sure.
a lot of site acceptance tests, etc. So these are this our services are made sure that we actually enable our customers from end to end, with respect to the energy storage deployments.
So this is just in India, or is it globally you
It
practice the
is
same?
globally. It is definitely in globally. Currently, we are doing a project in Korea, Philippines, Singapore, etc. So, I mean,
Oh,
because
wow.
my focus is, mostly on the APAC region. But yeah,
I
I mean, this
understand.
is
Yes.
this is definitely something we actually do worldwide. DNV is a global company.
Ah,
Our vision is quite global,
right.
so that's what we have been doing.
So since you've been taking care of the APAC region, what has been the most suitable for you? You know, what has been the continent or the state which have you've been working with, which has been most amiable to work with?
Okay, I mean, I see a lot of opportunities that are actually cropping up in China, because I mean, China holds 80% of the raw materials,
It does.
manufacturing. I mean, that's where, I mean, I actually have been supporting or understanding how these manufacturers from China are actually, kind of, trying to get their products out. And in fact, I mean, India is also one of the beneficiaries. So if we can
No,
work
there's a
out
lot of transition
commercially.
which is happening to India also now, say for
Absolutely.
technology, for other things also. I'm sure that you would have your focus towards India also, and you would see this market growing as we being all of us have been wanting it to grow, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I also understand that since but you are participating at the Crystal edition of REI, which is like 15 years of togetherness, what does DNV want to bring to the table at the Indian foray at REI or the Crystal edition of Renewable Energy India Expo starting from 28th to 30th of September? So, what is from DNV's table which is coming at the expo?
Yeah, so in fact, DNV is actually hosting a booth where we have our experts coming up from wind, solar, storage, EV, and also from GPM, which is our Green Power Monitoring Solutions. So we are at the booth, and we would be happy to have all the discussions happening at the booth. And we are also partner at one of the conference sessions. So that's something that, we would be able to share one of our insights about renewable business in India. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Modini. So, ladies and gentlemen, all those who are watching our program and would be watching our program, we would invite everybody to join us at the Crystal edition of REI starting from 28th to 30th of September, and also meet DNV along with other leading brands and see the products and services which are being offered on the table there. I wish you all a happy business and look forward to seeing you on 28th of September. Thank you so much, Modini. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to physically meeting you at the expo.
Thank you so much, Amit. Good day.